I'm traveling this highway to nowhere, 'cause I can't find a road to your heart. This old road is so rough and so rocky, I get lost on.
We're honoured to welcome to Country Star Time the former lead singer of the Melody Aces, Shay Hutchinson.
Ride me down easy, Lord, ride me on down. Leave word in the dust where I lay, for I'm easy come, easy go, and I'm easy to love when I stay. This highway, she's hotter than 9 kinds of hell. The rides, they're as scarce as the rain. When you're down to your last shuck with nothing to lose and too far away from the train. Ride me down easy, Lord, ride me on down. Leave word in the dust where I lay, for I'm easy come, easy go, and I'm easy to love when I stay.
And very easy to listen to. Shay Hutchinson has entertained audiences all over Ireland, England and the USA. Tonight we're here in Cappagh Parish Centre to pay him a well-deserved tribute. Ladies and gentlemen, Shay Hutchinson, the man and his music. Born in Sescal Green on October the 30th, 1930, Shay was one of 9 children and the son of Bridget and Joe. Joe was to spend much of his life working in Scotland and in England. As a young man of 16, Shay set off for England to join his father on the building sites. His yearning to see the world as a sailor was realised when he joined the Navy in 1949 and worked as a stoker mechanic. Music was always a great love for the Hutchinsons, whether on board ship or a session at home. By now, there was another kind of love in Shay's life, Josephine McChrystal. Shay and Josie were married in 1951. Shay now moved into a new field of music, country music, and learned to play the guitar. The family of Bridget and Joe grew up with music in their home and were always encouraged to develop their talents. Shay and Josie's family of 5 are talented entertainers as well. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome on stage Shay, Paddy and Maureen to represent the Hutchison family and to give us some of the Irish music they grew up with. Shay, Paddy and Maureen. Well, Shay played his guitar and displayed his talents as a country singer to such good effect in Desi McBride's in Bridge Street, Omagh, that Desi introduced him to his brother-in-law, John Devine. John Devine's own musical career began with the Cailey Band in Newton Stewart in the late 1940s. With Edward McNamee, Eugene McNamee and Jean Turbot, he formed the Mourne Dance Band. Knockmoyle Hall in our own parish was a regular venue. Jim Henderson and David Coyle joined the band, which was then called the Melody Aces, and had a Saturday night spot in the Star Ballroom. John Devine, who played keyboards and was manager of the Melody Aces, was impressed with Shay's new style of music, country and western, and so in 1957, Shay became a member of the legendary Melody Aces. The band, which revolutionised the Irish dance band scene and enjoyed phenomenal success in the 1950s and 1960s. But
now it's too late to clean the slate and make another start. I'm satisfied the way things are, although we're far apart. My dear divorce, I love you from the blackboard of my heart. If you didn't do the way you should, I not have gone astray. These tears would not have fallen.
Now, a few weeks ago...
But now let us hear the members of the band and their friends and fans telling the story.
Now, a few weeks ago, we had Don Sullivan on the programme, the Derry singer. He sang one of his own songs about the Star Ballroom in Omagh. Now, the song also referred to the Melody Aces, who were the resident band at the Star Ballroom for years. They were one of the first show bands, if not the first show band, and they're still on the go. Now, they're going to play for us in a few moments, but first I want you to meet four of them. There's Edward McNamee, Jean Turbot, Shay Hutchinson, and Pat McGonigal. Edward, let's... were you actually the first show band, you feel?
Oh, if we weren't the first, we were one of the very first.
Yeah.
I would say we were the first show band, really,
Who else was around at the Clipper Carlton?
The Clipper Carlton in the 50s, 1950, we changed the name to the Melody Aces. The Clipper Carlton that time were known as Hugh Turish and Hugh Turish and the Orchestra. That was maybe a year after. It was around about the same time, and then they changed, they come into the show band. But they both are connected with the same era, the same year, nearly,
So in fact, Jean, it all started up north to this whole show band thing.
In fact, it started all within about 10 miles of each other because the Clipper Carlton comes from Strabane and the Melody Aces comes from Newton Stewart.
Why should it have started? What was there before show bands?
Well, actually what happened in those days was
Melodeon players.
Bands would have sat and played orchestrations and sat down playing, and it was very straight-laced. When the show band era came along, we got up to our feet and started to play music that was more happy and more jolly, and the audience got in and enjoyed your entertainment as well, you see.
Shay, what kind of crowds were you playing to in the 50s?
Millions. Millions. Millions of beautiful people. We have various records of capacity crowds in all the major venues in Ireland.
You actually played the Ballroom of Romance, didn't you?
That's one of our favourite spots.
Where's that? Down in County Leitrim, was it? County Leitrim.
Johnny McGivern, Johnny Macaroni.
He owned that.
He had it, yeah.
And you played in a lot of Albert, the Taoiseach.
Oh,
his old ballroom.
Give me his full title,
His Taoiseach,
yes. A lot of his, in fact, all of his ballrooms.
Did they all have the word cloud included in them? Cloudlands?
Land was what they had. It was the first ballroom that they had was called the Cloudland Ballroom in Rooskey, County Roscommon, and we were the very first band that he had booked to play at the opening of that there.
We can say we put him on his feet, Albert, on his
You put Albert in his feet.
We can say that.
So we can blame you. Pat, just for those of us who are a bit on the youngish side, how big did the Melody Aces get? How big were you?
Well, it started off like we didn't know how big we were, sort of took everything in our stride there, but sort of grew up and the people made us big, not ourselves. We thought ourselves ordinary people, just out to entertain people,
Were you one of the founder members? Were you one of the originals?
No, I joined in 1956.
So you're a bit of a latecomer. Who are the originals?
Well, we had Edward here.
Jane and myself.
And
And by the way, Jerry, before it goes any further, the reason he wears a different colour from us, he qualifies for his free bus pass, and the rest of us haven't reached that stage yet.
Do you know
that's not really the reason at all. No, but the founders of the band was the late John Devine, Edward McNamee, that's him, and his brother Eugene McNamee, the present drummer with the band, and myself. We were the 4 original Melody Aces. The reason why we called ourselves the Melody Aces, well, there was 4 aces, and then we thought, well, it would have to something to do with melody or music, you know, so we called ourselves the Melody Aces. And that was the original 4.
And you played all over the country for me. We have a picture of you, I think, in your suits on stage. There you are, look. What year was that?
Well, that before the war.
And that was the first war, but even during the Second World War, we had a better, you know. We got into more trendy, you know.
Well, Jerry, you're talking about big crowds, and she was telling you about the big crowds, but we picked the wee crowds too.
How much were you boys earning in the heydays? Gene, how much?
I would say, well, generally in the region of about £200 a night. Now, that may sound, nowadays, that may not sound all that great, but when you're talking back in the mid-50s, you know,
60s,
that was very big money, like, you know, good. Sure. That was good money, because you take a tradesman would have been earning, say, about £30.
Yeah.
You know, about £30 a week. That was a good tradesman. So we were earning up on the region of, say, maybe £90 a week, like, you know, in comparison. So it was well worth it in a band at that time, you know.
And you were heading off to even America? You were playing in America?
We went to America for 3 years running, 59, 60 and 61. You'll get a word in sometime or other.
Just after we go to America running, we flew.
Hall was our first place we come in Belfast.
Belfast, Florida Hall.
We packed that on a Monday
Jim
night.
Jim
Macon is right.
We used to play for Jim Macon at the very first night that he ran his big Tuesday night in the Orpheus Ballroom.
That was the big
Melody Aces was the first band.
All right. Well, some of you are still playing, and a matter of fact, you're all back together. You've got the Melody Aces back together.
Yeah.
Would you 4 old boys like to?
Where do I get my crutches?
I'll help you across. I'll help you across. Go on, away you go, because it'll take some while before you get over here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what are you going to play? I know what you're going to play. Yes, go on, get you over there, get you tuned up, and I'll give you. This is something. This is a reforming of the Melody Aces, and this is going to revive some memories. They're going to play. I even remember this song. It's called "I Was Kaiser Bill's Batman." I think that's right. Would you give a big round of applause to the Melody Aces?
Ladies and gentlemen, when we were preparing this show, we asked for some people who had fond memories of the Melody Aces to come together one night in the Village Inn and have a bit of a chat about them. And we've brought 4 of them back here tonight. Mickey O'Donnell and Desi McGinn were also there that night, but they're not able to be here tonight. And Charlie Grugan, who would have been a driver with the band men at that time, was also with us that night, but again, he can't be here tonight. But on stage we have 4 men who have good memories of the Melody Aces, and we're going to start off with Patrick McCrory, and Paddy will take us back to the days in Knockmoyle Hall when the Mourne Band were playing. So Paddy, what are your memories of the beginnings of the Melody Aces via the Mourne show band?
Well, they used to come to Knockmoyle. That time they weren't on a Rolls Royce, they came on bicycles. Lit John Devine, God rest his soul, Edward McNamee, Eugene McNamee, James McNamee, and I think another McNamee. It's all McNamees anyway. They weren't as hard to pay that time as the bands are nowadays. The fee was £12 for the night. That time they were named as the Mourne Dance Band. Knockmoyle was the hall at that time. Came from all over the county Tyrone to it. Hall wasn't fit to hold them the night the Melody Aces were playing. Sorry, the Mourne Dance Band that time. Later on they changed their name to Melody Aces. But really and truly, Knockmoyle made the Melody Aces or the Mourne Dance Band.
Thank you, Patrick. And I think it goes without saying Patrick is from Knockmoyle. The other major venue at that time, by the way, Knockmoyle was a big dance hall at that time, and they were dancing about every 2 weeks, Patrick, wasn't it? Right. Well, after that then, the Star Ballroom in Omagh was the main mecca for the new Melody Aces, and this man, Anthony Connolly, will remember dancing in the Star.
Every Saturday night it was a run to Loma from Dromore. I was originally from Dromore, but we headed off to the Star Ballroom on a Saturday night. So this night we landed at the Star Ballroom. The Maldaces was playing. There was this new man in the Star Ballroom playing along with the Maldaces. So we did not know who he was. So it wasn't very long till the audience was able to say that it was Shay Hutchinson, the very first night that he had played along with the Maldaces. So Shay was the first man would have been stunned playing a guitar. So from that on, you could see the crowds following the Maldaces, no matter where you went. We followed them all around Newton Stewart, Drumquan, Clonaboggan, Fontana, all around. No matter where the Maldaces went, we were there. So I think that it was Shay Hutchinson that was drawing the crowd.
And of course, Anthony is the chairman of the bowling club here, of which Shay is an important member, so I think that's why he's plugging Shay. Would also say, I think Anthony Connolly at that time was a well-known footballer playing for Tyrone. Tyrone was very big in 1957, corresponding with that. And I think Anthony would have told us that the Tyrone supporters and the Melody Aces followers were much the same crowd. And you had Eileen Donaghy singing at that time, and Pat was playing on the team. Anyway, that's Anthony's memories of the Star Ballroom. And further afield then, the Melody Aces had a date in Galway. And Galway may not be so far away for us today, but back then it was a long bit away. There was a young man from Knockmoyle, from Cullion, Tommy McCrory, who was working in Galway, and Tommy invited the Melody Aces to Galway to play in a fundraiser for the local football club. Tommy.
Right. Yes. I knew the Melody Aces from dancing in Knockmoyle. So when I emigrated out west, 1951, the dances down there were very good too, but we had a football club, and a few of the boys asked me did any good bands from the north. So of course the Melody Aces were first in my mind. So I was up on holidays at Easter time, 55, I think it was 55, and I approached the late John Devine to see would they come down to Galway to play at our dance to raise funds for the football club. So John hesitated for a while, and God, he says, Tommy, that's a long way away. I says, it is, but sure, I made it down. It was a better way than I had it going. So anyhow, I kept in contact with John, and God rest his soul, John, he said he would come down. So the band landed down in Galway, I don't know, sometime in July, I think it was August. And the Melody Aces were a new name. And indeed, I rode down to Galway there last week to see if I could get posters of their first night, and they were to post them on to me. They've still got them down there in the Connacht Tribune, you know. But anyhow, I mightn't tell you the crowd they had that night in the Hangar Ballroom, Salt Hill. And from that, Sea Point was the next place in the west of Ireland. The Melody Aces made their name. And they were a great band, a brilliant set of lads, decent fellas, and they're still going on as well as ever. I wish them all the best. They were a great crowd.
Thank you very much, Tommy. And we already had the Hutchison family on playing the Irish music, and our last man to pay a tribute to the Melody Aces is Benny Monaghan, and of course everybody here knows that Benny's big interest is Irish music, been so involved with Cappagh Cultus. So Benny will recall not the Melody Aces but the Hutchison family playing in Knockmoyle. Benny.
Thank you, Brendan. My memory of the Hutchinson family goes back for nearly 40 years. I was on a bread van at that time round Mullislun, Carrickmore and other places. And I remember calling on Tuesdays and Fridays with the Hutchinson family up there, and Shay's mother, I'm very pleased to say, is in the front row here tonight. I would like you to give her a big hand. But as usual, fundraising, it still goes on, yet there'll be always a need for fundraising of one kind or another. We were asked to organise a group or a band for a night's playing in Knockmoyle way back in those early days. And when I arrived up at Hutchinson's house, I think it would possibly been Maureen that I made the contact with, and we arranged to have the Hutchinson family down to play at a dance in Knockmoyle. The late Joe Hutchinson, Shay's dad, Maureen, Paddy, the late Sean, and Brendan, who is over in England. And we had a very successful night thanks to the Hutchinson family. And I wish Shay and the Melody Aces all the very best from here on.
Thank you very much, Benny. And the other two members of the group, Mickey O'Donnell and Desi McGinn, now recalled for us the dances, especially in the Astoria Ballroom and in the carnival dancing. So unfortunately, we can't have that for tonight, but it's certainly worth recording because I think the carnival dancing was something that was very, very big in the 1960s. But anyway, that concludes our tributes on stage, so I thank very much Patrick McCrory, Anthony Connolly, Tommy McCrory and Benny Monaghan. Thank you very much.
Hello, Shay. This is Mick Flavin. I am very pleased to be associated with your special evening. You have made a great impact on people like myself and indeed on the entertainment business generally. From myself and the lads in the band, we wish you every success with your celebrations. Good luck for the future.
Behind yon green mountain, the sun it stands high. I watch the sun rising, right proud in the sky. The dark clouds are passing, their shadows are thrown on the high holy hills of the county Tyrone.
Hello, Shay, and everybody back in Killyclogher Hall. Dominic here. It's a privilege to be paying tribute to a living legend on a special night. Shay Hutchinson, of course, has entertained millions in over 30 years in music all over Ireland, the UK, and of course the US. The Melody Aces were probably the first of the big show bands, and Shay and his friends laid the foundations for entertainers like myself all those years ago. An accomplished vocalist and guitar player has made Shay indeed a living legend. We have worked together over the years in charity shows on probably only a few occasions, but every time he has been full of encouragement to myself. Shay has travelled many a long road, like myself, but it's fitting that tonight he appears at his own parish hall. As they say, there's no place like home. Thankfully, despite all his worldwide trips and success, he has never forgotten where he has come from and his own people. That's all from me now. I'm sorry that I can't be with you, but I'm currently on tour in Scotland. Have a great night, Shay, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Hello, Shay. Sorry I can't be with you tonight on your big night. You were one of the first country singers that I heard, and I used to enjoy your music an awful lot. You used to come down to the embassy in Celebratory, and you had the Melody Aces with you, and a good night was be had by all. I suppose we were a good few years younger then, time moves on, but I'd just like to say on behalf of the band and myself and the manager Kevin, the very best of luck, and thank you for all the country music you give us down through the years, and keep on singing a country song.
Congratulations, Seamus, on all the wonderful achievements you've made over the years. Keep up the good work. Now this is Jean's daughter, Elaine.
Congratulations on your accomplishments and enjoy the evening.
This is George, Elaine's boyfriend.
Just like to congratulate you, Uncle Seamus, on all your achievements.
This is Robert, Jean's son.
Uncle Seamus, it's been quite a few years, and it looks like you've accomplished quite a bit. Congratulations.
This is Patricia, Jean's daughter.
Uncle Seamus, congratulations. See you next year. This is my friend Phil.
This is the McChrystal family. Now I would like you to speak to Pat McChrystal, the brother-in-law of Shay.
Hi Seamus, this is your number one brother-in-law. I had a speech prepared, but obviously it was kind of short, so I'll just wish you congratulations and have a nice night.
Now I'd like you to speak to Rose, Pat's wife.
Hi Seamus, congratulations. Enjoy the party.
I'd like you to speak to Martin, the son of Pat and Rose.
Big honor, Uncle Seamus. Congratulations.
Good evening, this is Mr. Peter and Eileen Newey. Peter, you would like to say something to Shay?
Hi Shay, congratulations. I wish I was with you tonight. Enjoy your party, but we can't make it. See you next year. She's drunk.
Hi Seamus, wish we could all be with you tonight in Killyclogher, but seeing we can't, I want to wish you all the best. God bless, have fun.
Hi. Hi everybody in Killyclogher Hall. I am talking here from Toronto, Canada. So I want to say a special hi to my dad and to congratulate you, Dad, on this big party they're having for you tonight. I'm sorry that the kids and I cannot make it, but this is the best what I can do. So I hope you have a great time. I want to let you know how proud I've been of you and that I love you very, very much. So bye for now, love, May. I would like you to speak to my daughter, Ashley.
Hi, Papa. This is Ashley Young speaking. I really, really love you, and I really deserve this award because you are a beautiful singer and a beautiful Papa. I really, really love you, and I hope everybody does too. Bye.
Now I would like you to speak to Andrew, my son.
Hi, Papa. I'm in the sleepyhead. Congratulations. Wish you had a very good time at the party. Bye.
So bye from all of us. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's lovely to be asked along to this great night tonight. And of course, you've all showed great support for this great man of ours. And I was just chatting to a few people behind there. Shay Hutchinson, my first memory of was actually in the Star Ballroom. And I can actually remember the song. And when you can remember that far back and remember a song, Not a Bit of Man, they have to have something special. We're saying there about the Melody Aces and the Celebratory and all them bands. Even in them years, there was a lot of people there to play for, but you had to be something special and have this something. And he was one of them people that once you seen him and you heard him sing, that was it. And that's why so many people down through the years to now, even up to this day, all keep singing the praises of the man, even the entertainers himself. Actually, that's what he is more so, I think, is the people in the business that have looked up to him down through the years, because he was really something special. And of course, in them years after the Melody Aces and the other bands came along in, the Buckaroos and the Polka Dots and the Tall Men and them bands, it used to be a great thing. People would say to you, what part are you from, or what area is this band from? And of course you would say the Oma area, Dromore, Newtown, Stewart, whatever the case may be. And it was like talking about good footballers actually from Tyrone at that time. It was always great. You felt great to say that you actually knew them, and maybe you didn't even at that time. You're actually looking up from the ground up, watching them on the stage, but you'd always say that you knew them, because the bottom line was that you felt so proud of them. And tonight, as I say, shows the great admiration you have for the man. So it's nice to be here and be part of this party. It's like a Killy at a big house tonight, because everybody's here, wants to be part of it in the entertainment business, and you yourselves that have given it great support. So thank you very much, and the best of luck to Shay Hutchinson. And I can tell you one thing, I think as Big Tom said there, the man should be singing at least 2 or 3 nights a week, because a talent like that is a sin not for the people. It's a sin for a man like that not to be out singing 2 and 3 nights a week, because I think the public would still love to hear that man singing right, because they don't come along so often. So Shay Hutchinson, it's your night. Have a great night, and it's great to be part of it. Thank you very much.
It's a great pleasure for me to have the opportunity to come along to Killyclogher tonight, be part of this tribute to Shay Hutchinson. I started dancing a few years before the Melody Aces parted around about 72 or whatever, and spent most of my time, that was in North Donegal at the time, being very much associated with the big marquees up around Carrigart and Downings and places like that, with all the great country bands at the time. And I thought it was very appropriate tonight that the first numbers that we heard were the 2 fiddle players, Shay and Maureen, and the accordion as well, because it always goes back to traditional music. And you heard, frankly, Anne-Marie being mentioned there. As I said, I'm the Frank half of it. Anne-Marie can't be here, but she's bound and gagged out in the car, but if she's good, we'll let her in after a while. Anyway, the first time I actually met Shay Hutchinson was in one of our first programmes. We had him in our Radio Foyle studios playing live and singing for us. And it wasn't just the singing that struck me, because it reminded me of so many of the early and the great country stars, and that driving sound on the acoustic guitar. And we talked about Flat and Scruggs, and we talked about Hank Williams and all my old favourites, because I think the important thing to remember about Shay Hutchinson is that his influences were very much the real country influences that would have stemmed from the 30s and 40s. Not my era as a human being, but as somebody who grew up in the 1950s and 60s. Those were the records, the only records we had at home, and the records that we listened to. And I'm particularly glad to see so many young people here tonight. I was wondering as I came, I knew the place would be packed all right, but I thought maybe it would be my era plus or whatever. But it's great to see all the youngsters here, because you heard traditional music earlier on. You're going to be hearing some good country music. And all I would say to the youngsters really is, because my kids don't watch Top of the Pops anymore, which tells you something about the way music's going, but if you want to rave, listen to good country music. So thanks very much.
Welcome to me by surprise today. Gee, it's been a long, long time since those happening Texas nights. We go swimming in the tide.